Welcome back to A Curious Mind. Today's episode, I have a couple of I have a few things that I would like to open up and explore, but I also don't want it to be too structured because I just feel as though I've been feeling a lot recently, and I feel like I could potentially capture something quite authentic in today's episode, and I would like to honor that. And so, yeah, this episode. I can feel that this episode is going to be quite intimate, maybe, and personal, which is scary. But I've been, I've been able to do that in the past. I think that because I'm feeling it currently, it feels a little bit more raw. But that's kind of the whole point of my podcast is I just want, like, if my younger self was to stumble upon my podcast, I would want her to feel as though there are people out there that are going through things similar to what she's going through, feeling things similar to what she's feeling, navigating the feelings and the life experiences, and that's the beauty of life, and that's the beauty of living. And so I think that I think that I might capture that quite well in today's episode, because I feel like I'm currently in a moment. I reckon I'm going to end up calling this episode Self-Esteem, which I've alluded to in the past, but is something that I've massively struggled with my whole life. It's something that I've very much fought with. And it's really funny because I used to really struggle with self-esteem as a whole. So I would struggle with like my academic self-esteem at school. I would struggle with my body image, like the way that I looked, self-esteem. I would struggle with my self-worth. I just felt as though I was constantly like on the outside of society looking in. And I think that for me to make sense of it, I would blame myself for those feelings. You're too much, or you're annoying, or you're stupid, or you're not enough. And it was all of these like labels and ways that I would justify why I felt so on the outside of everything. But I'm coming to terms with the fact that like I was never on the outside. I was there with everybody, and I had just as much of a right to be there with everybody, and people like me, and people value me, people love me, people respect me, because I'm just me, because that's all I am. And that's enough, and that's not something that I need to improve or manipulate or make better. Me being me is enough. And so I've hugely changed my relationship with self-esteem around. And I mean, like, pursuing my career in becoming a therapist and taking that leap and making that change massively helped my self-worth, because I am pursuing something that I know I can do well at, I know I can be good at, I know I can be great at, and I know that I can help. And that has hugely helped me with my self-worth. And I would say that I, over the years, have really worked on my friendships and that kind of relationship that I have with people in my life, and knowing what I am worthy of when it comes to friendships, and being quite discerning with friendships, and not just making space for any type of person in my life, because like I want to like feel that like abundance of love and attention from several people. You know, I have been there and I have had that, but it actually it was quite empty. And I realized that what suits me is like less quantity and more quality friends, you know, people that I can genuinely rely on and relate to and experience and not be judged. And so that's been a process as well. But I've really struggled with my self-esteem when it comes to romantic relationships. I've done so much work on myself over the last few years, and I feel as though I've done work on myself over the last few years in isolation to the work that I've needed to do when it comes to dating and being with somebody and having a relationship, like a romantic relationship with someone. And it's so funny because it's probably the thing that I've read the most about. Like, I understand the theory behind it all, and I've watched so much stuff because it fascinates me. I find love and relationships fascinating. But when I'm in it, I I just lose all sense of self. I lose all like all of the toolkit and like all of the things that I've worked on and I've really, you know, strengthened within myself when it comes to self-love and self-worth. Feels as though it just goes out the window when I start to like somebody romantically. And so it's like I go through like 1,000 ego deaths. And that's so like, it's not fun, it's unpleasant, it's painful, it's kind of ugly. But it's also really beautiful. And I'm in that right now. Like, I'm currently feeling that right now. I feel as though my logical, rational adult mind is just not able to overcome the child within me that yearns for validation and love. And it comes up when I'm dating one person, and so I feel as though it's that person that is bringing these feelings out within me. but it's not that person. It's me. It's my relationship to relationships. It's my way of processing these relationships that comes up for me when I start to feel those feelings, you know, like the biological changes when you're getting to know somebody, the feelings you start to feel, the future you start to envision, the imagination, like your imagination goes crazy, and the exploration and the vulnerability and the intimacy and all of those things cause this like hurricane within me that causes me to lose rationality, to lose direction. And I've been doing a lot of reading into this because I can't quite understand like how I feel so out of control when I know the theory, I know logically I'm being irrational, but I can't quite grasp myself and my feelings. And so yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading into this, and the funny thing is I made an episode a little while ago on the Confessions of an Overthinker, where I spoke about being too much. And now I understand that that feeling of being too much, that fear of being too much, stems from me having an anxious attachment style, which you think that it could, like your anxious, like your attachment style is how you attach and relate to all types of relationships. But what I'm actually starting to realize is it's exclusive to romantic relationships. Now, I don't exactly understand why it is so solely exclusive to romantic relationships with me, but I get how this too muchness has come up for me in the past, and how painful it was in past relationships to feel that way because of this anxiety that I have. I've noticed that in isolation, like on my own, single, without a crush, without like, you know, any kind of romantic relationship going on in my life, I feel pretty secure for the most part. Like I feel quite confident in myself, in my abilities. I feel like, you know, I know what I'm deserving of. You know, I'm actually like, I'm in a good place with myself. But the minute I start to relate to somebody else in a romantic sense, it's like the concoction of all of the imagination and the exploration and the intimacy and the stories and the vulnerability and the oxytocin, you know, and all of these things that come from like the initial stages of dating. The combination of that with my logical mind just like creates a hurricane within me that I can't seem to like grasp. I can't seem to like sturdy my feet and understand like what direction it is that I'm supposed to be going in. And so I just, yeah, I lose sense of self, and I try so hard to come back, and I almost berate myself and I judge myself because I'm like, you know, what, look at you. Like, look at what you've done, look at all of these amazing things you've achieved and you've accomplished, and look at all of the amazing people in your life that love you so much. Like, why are you losing yourself and your mind over this person that you barely know? The minute that I almost categorize that person in my mind as like a potential partner rather than a friend, like I just look at the situation in such a different way, and I yearn for validation. I yearn for attention. I yearn for like for them to tell me that I'm okay. We were doing some work in therapy school last week and the week before on a modality of therapy called transactional analysis, which is all to do with how we transact with each other, like transactions between people. And one of the things that there's like a grid that my tutor brought up that was like different states that you can be in. There's 4. The first one is I'm not okay and you're not okay. So this is the person that is like consistently just like down about life, about the world, about everything going on. They are really sad and upset and probably depressed, and nothing in the world is going right and everything is just like awful. You've then got the I'm not okay and you're okay, which is like must be nice, kind of like I'm not okay but you're okay, so you've got a better life, you're in a better place than I am, must be nice kind of approach. You've then got the I'm okay and you're not okay, which is somewhat like contempt, I guess, right? So it's like, you know, you need to do some work to get onto my level, and like, you know, yeah, contempt. And then the last one, which is the ideal one, is I'm okay and you're okay. We're both fine. Like, I'm fine with myself, you're fine with yourself, I like you, you like me, I respect you, you respect me, like, we're fine. And what I find is that for the most part in my life, I'm in the I'm okay, you're okay state. I used to not be like this. I used to very much be in I'm not okay, you're okay in all of my life. But for the most part, I would say like, I'm okay, you're okay. I'm not competing with you. I don't like, I'm really happy for you if you do well. I'm here for you if you don't, if you're struggling, like, but we're okay. We're fine. You know, we're figuring this life out and we're doing it in the most gracious way that we can. And that's okay. But the minute I get into any type of romantic relationship with somebody, I instantly turn into the I'm not okay and you're okay. Like, something is wrong with me. Something is so deeply wrong with me. How the hell could this person ever want to relate themselves to me? And then I start to almost question their judgment. I question their judgment of like why they would choose to relate themselves to me. And I go down this spiral of, I just berate myself. I just look at all of my ugly angles and I shine a light on them. And it's so awful. Like, it's so unfair. It's so unpleasant. It's really just not constructive at all. And it almost makes me not want to get into a relationship with anybody, because the thing is like, it doesn't actually matter who the person is that I'm relating to. I just have this pattern of relating myself. So no, unless I start to break the pattern, like, it doesn't matter who it is that I will be dating, I'm going to carry on in that. I will just copy and paste this process. And I so badly want to change this. I so badly want to like identify and work through. And I genuinely feel like I'm in a place currently in my life where that is happening. Like, I am identifying the fact that I do this, and I'm trying so hard to work through. But it's like a compulsion. It's like I don't have the strength sometimes to override this this anxious spiral that comes up, and this self-deprecation that I instantly jump to. And yeah, it's like, like if anyone can relate to me, like even in the smallest way, first of all, I am so sorry that you're going through this and you're feeling this, because oh my God, it's actually crippling sometimes. But if you do relate to me and if you do feel similar to me, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. We create all of these methods of self-sabotage because it's familiar. It's what we know. And we protect ourselves from pain and from hurt, potential pain and from potential hurt. But we don't in the end, because we end up feeling it anyway. I'm in pain and I'm hurting at the moment. Like, it's just completely caused by me, you know? And if it was caused by somebody else, there might even be an element to it that might be a little bit easier, because there's a lack of control there. If you choose not to relate to me, if you choose to stop the relationship that you want with me, even though in my mind that is quite literally the worst thing that could happen, but actually when I work through it, if I'm dating you and you turn around out of the blue with no explanation and say, I don't want to be with you anymore, it would almost be a relief, because I'm like, okay, that's your choice. Like, I'm not going to sit here and beg you to change your mind. It's probably a you thing. And so then it relieves me of the responsibility of the feelings that I feel towards this person. Does that make any sense? I don't know if I've made any sense up until this point. But it's like, because this person is consistent and seems healthy and seems good for me, I'm then trying to find any reason as to why this is definitely not the right thing for me, because I don't deserve something like this. Fundamentally, I do not believe that I deserve something like this in a romantic relationship. So, I'm going to read a little part of a book that I read not too long ago called Tuesdays with Maury. I really, really recommend this book. It's so beautiful. My friend Holly got me onto it because our friend Emma got Holly onto it, and it's a tear jerker, by the way. Don't even know if jerk is the right word. It's a tear streamer. But I'm going to read this section from the book that I think is just really beautiful. So it's from pages 102 to 104. I'm going to read a little part of it. So for context, Tuesdays with Maury is about a guy called Maury who sadly gets ALS disease and is slowly and painfully dying. And his former student, Mitch, comes every single Tuesday to spend time with Maury and to learn as much as he can from Maury in his last few days. So this is like the context. And this book is written from Mitch's perspective. And I'm not ruining the book by any means. It's literally like, it's like literally the first few pages of the book. But I would seriously recommend, I would really recommend reading this book. If you're okay with reading about death and whatnot. Right, I'm going to get onto it now. The small horrors of his illness were growing. and when I finally sat down with Maury, he was coughing more than usual. A dry, dusty cough that shook his chest and made his head jerk forward. After one violent surge, he stopped, closed his eyes, and took a breath. I sat quietly because I thought he was recovering from his exertion. What I'm doing now, he continued, his eyes still closed, is detaching myself from the experience. Detaching yourself? Yes, detaching myself. And this is important, not just for someone like me who's dying, but for someone like you who's perfectly healthy. Learn to detach. He opened his eyes, he exhaled. You know what the Buddhists say? Don't cling to things, because everything is impermanent. But wait, I said, aren't you always talking about experiencing life, all the good emotions, all the bad ones? Yes. Well, how can you do that if you're detached? Ah, you're thinking, Mitch, but detachment doesn't mean you don't let the experience penetrate you. On the contrary, you let it penetrate you fully. That's how you're able to leave it. I'm lost. Take any emotion, love for a woman, or grief for a loved one, or what I'm going through, fear and pain from your deadly illness. If you hold back on the emotions, if you don't allow yourself to go all the way through them, you can never get to being detached. You're too busy being afraid. You're afraid of the pain. You're afraid of the grief. You're afraid of the vulnerability that loving entails. But by throwing yourself into these emotions, by allowing yourself to dive in all the way over your head even, you experience them fully and completely. You know what pain is. You know what love is. You know what grief is. And only then can you say, all right, I have experienced that emotion. I recognize that emotion. Now I need to detach from that emotion for a moment. Maury stopped and looked me over, perhaps to make sure I was getting this right. I know you think this is just about dying, he said, but it's like I keep telling you. When you learn how to die, you learn how to live. Ah. If I'm going to take a leaf out of Maury's book, I guess the point is to fully give myself to this part of my life right now. To fully allow myself to feel the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being enough, the fear of not being pretty enough, funny enough, intelligent enough, old enough, young enough, good enough. The fear of being alone forever. That's probably what it is. It's the fear of being alone forever and not finding the right person. And I think that if I allow that fear to really penetrate me and to really feel that, then I can finally detach from it. I can finally detach. It doesn't rule me anymore. Because all the while I was alone, I was okay. Because I wasn't thinking about not being chosen by someone, not being with someone for the rest of my life. It was somewhat of a dream in the distance. But now that I'm in a situation with somebody, and I'm scared that I'm going to lose them, even though I barely know them, these fears of a lonely future start to wash over me. So I guess I need to just sit with them. And let them wash over me. And let myself detach from that fear. Because it's a familiar feeling. And it doesn't serve me. Being scared of being alone for the rest of my life isn't something that serves me. Because if that is what my future holds, that can still be beautiful, because I won't be alone. Because I have so many people that love me around me. And in fact, when I have not been alone, when I've been in relationships in the past, that is sometimes, that they have been some of the times where I have felt most alone, because you're with somebody that you're supposed to feel so attached to and connected to, and you don't. So it's like you're lying to the world and to yourself and to that other person. You feel like a farce, you feel fake. And yeah, that's quite an unpleasant feeling. So maybe I need to just sit with that for a little bit. I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. I am sorry if you do feel this way, though. It's not nice. But I encourage you to perhaps explore what that underlying fear is and sit with it. Journal about it. Talk about it with people you love and you trust. Your therapist. Let it penetrate you fully. Let yourself really experience it. And then realize that it's a feeling. And like Maury says, okay, this is fear. Step away from it. All right, it's just fear. I don't have to let it control me. I see it for what it is. All right, that's my moment with loneliness. I'm not afraid of feeling lonely, but now I'm going to put that loneliness aside and know that there are other emotions in the world that I'm going to experience as well. Detach. I love it. I love this book. This is only one of the thousands of gems. Thousands of gems in an 180, no. Thousands of gems in an 192 page book. It's an amazing, amazing book. Yeah. Allow it to wash over you. Give yourself permission to feel it and let it go and detach and live. You're okay. I'm okay. We're all okay. Thanks for listening to this episode today. I mean, I'm literally in my gym gear. I needed to film this episode. I felt quite discombobulated. I felt quite uneasy, but I felt like I needed to record it. I don't know. And I don't really know how it's come out because I feel like I was almost disassociating for half of it. But one thing is that it's genuine and it's authentic. So that's kind of all I want. So yeah, thank you for listening. I will see you again next week. I love you so much. You're okay, and I'm okay, and we're all okay. And it will be okay. I'll see you next week.